Let's be honest, if you have spent more than one day in Lakewood Ranch, you have definitely noticed the traffic. From I-75 to University Parkway to the school drop-off areas, it is definitely one of the first things people talk about if they're thinking about moving to Lakewood Ranch. My name is Adam Miller with the 941 Lifestyle Group. I live here in Lakewood Ranch. I help people buy and sell homes here in Lakewood Ranch. We absolutely love living here. With that said, I also believe that you need to hear the full picture here. So in today's video, we are talking about the pros and cons of the traffic here in Lakewood Ranch. And we're talking about what's working, what's frustrating, and what you definitely need to know before you decide to make the move here. Now, for the most part, I think when people think about traffic in Florida, they're thinking about Miami gridlock, or maybe the traffic in Orlando outside of the Disney parks. Now, of course, Lakewood Ranch is nowhere near that level, but when I talk to people who are thinking about relocating here, that is definitely a topic of conversation. It is definitely one of their biggest concerns, and it's certainly something that you should know about before you make the move here. And here's part of the reason. Lakewood Ranch is still the #1 master plan community. It's one of the fastest growing communities in the entire country. It was recently voted for the 8th time in a row, the #1 multi-generational community in the country. We're talking about more than 65,000 residents today and projections that could take us past 80,000, even 100,000 people in the near future. And with that kind of growth comes a lot of positive. New schools, new restaurants, new shopping centers, new job opportunities. But it also means more cars on the roads, more congestions in certain areas, more cars lined up to pick up the kids at school. And unlike some older Florida towns where traffic patterns were established decades ago, Lakewood Ranch, it is still developing. And that means you've got construction zones and detours and traffic projects on top of just your typical commuting traffic. And then there's the fact that we sit along I-75, one of Florida's busiest highways, and you have a perfect recipe for some pain points. So people aren't using these roads just to get around Lakewood Ranch, they're using them to travel up and down the entire west coast of Florida. So the growth here doesn't just impact local traffic, it actually ties into the entire regional traffic. Now, to be clear, the traffic, as frustrating it is, it's not really a deal breaker, especially if you're coming from a metro area, it is definitely manageable. But if you're imagining this quiet suburban escape with open roads, that is just not the reality here. Lakewood Ranch is thriving, and with that success comes cars and congestions and some daily bottlenecks, and that's why it's worth digging into where and when you're likely to feel it the most. Okay, so let's talk about specifics, because traffic is all about knowing when and where this traffic takes place, for the most part. Okay, let's start off with the big one. We're talking about I-75 and University Parkway. Now, if you live here, or if you have ever visited here, you know this one already. This is probably the most infamous intersection in our entire area. It's the main connection point between Lakewood Ranch and Sarasota. It's also the gateway to the mall at University Town Center, also known as UTC, Nathan Benderson Park, and a ton of shopping and ton of dining. Add in the constant I-75 commuters, and you've got a recipe for congestion. Mornings, evenings are the toughest, and during snowbird season, traffic can back up well onto the interstate ramps. Well, relatively speaking, good news is that they built that divergent diamond a few years back. It seems to help a little bit. So that diverging diamond interchange was built to help with the flow, and compared to 10 years ago, it actually has improved, but it's still the kind of spot where you want to leave yourself extra time if you've got an appointment somewhere. All right, next up, we're talking about the school drop-off zones, and for some reason or another, this one seems to surprise a lot of people who are moving here. Schools like Nolan Middle, McNeil Elementary, and Lakewood Ranch High generate some serious car line traffic in the mornings and the afternoons. Now, I can tell you that firsthand because I live in Greenbrook Village, and there are 2 schools here, and I get hit with that traffic just about every morning, Monday through Friday. That is not a complaint, that is just reality, especially if you live in Greenbrook Village. And we're talking about lines that can wrap around neighborhoods and spill into the main roads. I've seen traffic back up onto Lorraine Road. If you don't have kids in school, you're going to want to know these time windows so you can avoid these routes. And if you do have kids, just be prepared. Most parents figure out their own rhythm, but it can definitely add an extra 20, 30 minutes to your morning if you are not strategic. So I am headed east on State Road 70, just east of Lorraine Road, and they are going to be working on this for a few years. They are expanding State Road 70 from Lorraine Road all the way out to Mayaca. At County Road 675, they are making this from 2 lanes to 4 lanes with multiple traffic circles. It is a huge project. All right, next up, we're talking about Lorraine Road and Lakewood Ranch Boulevard. These are right now the 2 major routes, north and south. They run parallel with I-75. They are central roads. Whether you're commuting to I-75, headed to Main Street, or dropping off kids at school, you're probably using one of them. But it also means that traffic gets heavy, especially around 7:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then again from about 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. And with more neighborhoods being built along Lorraine Road, you can see why it's one of the busiest stretches. Long term, these roads are planned to be widened, but for now, expect them to carry the load. Now, I haven't heard anything about Lakewood Ranch Boulevard being expanded, but I know the plan is to expand Lorraine Road from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, but honestly, I do not think that starts until sometime in 2026. All right, next up, and I think this is going to be a big one in the future, we're talking about Bornside Road and the construction on there. So growth is one of those things. It means progress, but it's also a double-edged sword. Now, right now, Bornside Road has been a pain point for a lot of residents because of the closures and the detours. For people who use it as a cut-through, it has forced them into already busy roads. So I am on Bornside Boulevard. As you can see on the right there, that's a brand new neighborhood that is Calusa Golf and Country Club. And the construction that is taking place on Bornside Boulevard is a massive undertaking. They are making Bornside Boulevard 4 lanes, multiple traffic circles, all the way from University Parkway to State Road 64. That's probably 15 miles. And there are 4 brand new communities being built right now as we speak on Bornside Boulevard. So we just passed Calusa Golf and Country Club. To the south of there, Lakewood Ranch just added to their map Stillwater, not under construction yet. To the north of Calusa Golf and Country Club is the new Del Webb Catalina. That's it on the right here. It seems they finished the construction here, which is fantastic because this has been closed and under construction for months now. And then to the north of Del Webb Catalina is another new neighborhood that is called Saddlestone. I think they have broken ground there. The road is closed and I don't think you can access it. This is 44th Avenue East, which, if you're paying attention, now actually goes over I-75. Oh, Kenka Street. All right, so this has been closed for months as well, too. Let's go take a look. So I think to the right here is Saddlestone. No information about it just yet. So yes, like I said, this road on Bornside has been closed for months. You are not able to access it from State Road 64, and I see a sign now for Saddlestone. So it does look like it is coming. Gonna have to go in there and check it out. Okay, so I did turn around. I'm headed south now. This is Calusa Golf and Country Club on my left. And the reason that I'm going down this way, because this road has been closed again for months. This is gonna take me to University Parkway, just past Del Webb on the right. And the new neighborhood Stillwater is gonna be on the left somewhere. So the sign didn't say that the road is closed, so let's go take a look. All right, so I am just south of Polar Run, another neighborhood within Lakewood Ranch. This is a brand new traffic circle, so let's take a look. Oh, this is actually State Road 70 right here. Oh, very interesting. This is a dangerous intersection for sure. Now, to be fair, that is just life in a fast-growing community. There's always going to be a project somewhere. But it does mean you've got to plan extra time, especially if you're commuting or if you have a tight schedule. So yeah, there are definitely trouble spots, but once you get to know them and know when to avoid them, they become slightly more manageable. Slightly. Now, most locals adjust their routines. They use alternative routes where they simply just build in that extra 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. Now, here's the thing. It's not really all that bad, especially when you compare it to a lot of other areas in Florida. Lakewood Ranch is definitely in a better position when it comes to managing the growth. All right, so let's talk about investment in infrastructure. So the county and the developers, they are not ignoring the problem. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot to complain about when it comes to the developers and the county. That's a topic for a whole nother video. They know and understand that growth is happening, and they're investing heavily in the roads and the traffic solutions. The diverging diamond at I-75 and University Parkway, it is a perfect example. Now, when that thing first opened, man, it was chaos. People were not sure what to think. But if you remember that intersection like 10 years ago, the improvement is undeniable. It still may get backed up at peak hours, but traffic actually flows now instead of being a complete standstill. It was a disaster. All right, again, let's talk about Lorraine Road and Lakewood Ranch Boulevard. Those both started off as just 2-lane roads. And like I said, over time, they've been widened to handle more traffic. They're now 4 lanes. The northern part of Lorraine Boulevard, north of State Road 70, is still currently 2 lanes. It is supposed to expand to 4 lanes all the way up to State Road 64. I think that project is going to be 2026 through 2027. That's what I'm hearing, at least. So I'm headed north on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard. As you can see, this is still under construction. This has been going on for months. All right, so let's talk about structured growth. Now, I know a lot of people are going to complain about this. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with it. Now, one of the biggest upsides of Lakewood Ranch being a master plan community is that the growth is not just random. Now, again, I know firsthand this area has blown up and people are not happy about it. But here's the key and here's the truth. This has been in the works for decades, much longer than some of the people who are actually complaining about it. It's been in the works for 40, maybe 50 years. So we knew this was coming. So every new village, every school, or every shopping center that comes online has been planned years in advance. The road access is part of that plan as well. So instead of neighborhoods popping up without a thought to traffic, there's at least a coordinated effort to build the infrastructure alongside the housing. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that there aren't growing pains, but at least there is a plan in place. Okay, so let's talk about comparison, because I know we all complain about the traffic in Lakewood Ranch, but compared to some other parts of Florida, it's not so bad. Now, when you compare this to other parts of Florida, Lakewood Ranch, it actually fares pretty well. So try driving through Orlando at rush hour or cutting across Tampa during peak times. That is a whole different level of gridlock. At least here, traffic is an inconvenience. It's not really a lifestyle. So while yes, traffic is a reality, it is also something that is being actively addressed, and it's part of the trade-offs of living in a community that is as popular and fast-growing as Lakewood Ranch. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what you can actually do to make the traffic in Lakewood Ranch just a little less stressful. Because while we can't control the growth, we can control how we plan our days. So timing is everything. So if you can, try to avoid hitting University Parkway or I-75 right around 8 a.m. or 5 p.m. Even shifting your schedule by 15-20 minutes can make a huge difference. The same goes for school drop-offs. Some parents will aim to get there a little earlier or wait until the tail end of the line to avoid the longest queues. Gotta learn the back routes. Locals who live here, they know which ways to go to avoid some of the traffic. For example, instead of taking University Parkway, sometimes using State Road 70 or State Road 64 east-west, that could save you some time. Inside the ranch, White Eagle, Greenbrook Boulevard can sometimes move faster than Lorraine or Lakewood Ranch Boulevard, depending on the time of day. Just recently, they finished construction on 44th Avenue East, which is going to be a great way to kind of cut through a lot of Lakewood Ranch. It takes you over I-75 all the way north. I'm hearing it's supposed to eventually connect into Mayaca City. Think ahead about lifestyle. This is one that a lot of buyers don't always consider. Where you live in Lakewood Ranch can make a big difference in your daily commute. If you know you're going to be driving into Sarasota every day, living closer to University Parkway might make sense, even if traffic's a little heavier there. On the other hand, if you work from home and you just need access to shopping or schools, a quieter East Village neighborhood might be even better. Use technology. There's apps like Waze and Google Maps that definitely help tremendously in Lakewood Ranch. A route that looks slow one day could be wide open the next day. So in reality, and at the end of the day, traffic in an area like Lakewood Ranch, which is one of the fastest growing communities, it is just part of daily life. But if you plan ahead, if you know your options, and you think about how your lifestyle matches with where you live, it definitely becomes something you manage, not something that just ruins your day. Now, this is the part I always stress. I am not here to bash Lakewood Ranch. I live here, I work here, we love living here. But I also don't think that you should move here without knowing the realities. Traffic is one of the shadows of Lakewood Ranch's success. The truth is, you don't get to be one of the fastest growing master plan communities in the entire country without feeling it on the roads. More people means more cars, and more cars mean more congestions in certain spots. But here's the flip side. That growth, it also means that this place is thriving. You've got world-class amenities, top-rated schools that families move across the country for, vibrant shopping, vibrant dining, and a sense of community that is hard to find elsewhere in Florida. That very same growth that creates traffic, it also brings opportunity, convenience, and lifestyle options that you just don't get in smaller towns. So yeah, traffic, it is just part of the deal here. But for most people who live here, it is just a trade-off that they are willing to make because of everything else that they get here. And the key is going in with eyes wide open so that you are not caught off guard. If you know the hotspots, then plan around the busy times and choose the right village for your lifestyle. Traffic then becomes something that you manage and not something that defines your experience of living here. So if you're seriously considering a move to Lakewood Ranch, don't just pick a house, pick a neighborhood that fits and matches your lifestyle. Traffic, commute time, school drop-offs, those are the kind of things that can make or break your day-to-day experience here. And that is exactly some of the things that we're going to talk about on our discovery call. We'll go beyond the glossy brochures and the builder tours. I'll walk you through which villages are best if you want quick I-75 access, which ones put you closer to the schools, and which areas help you avoid the busiest cut-throughs. You can scan this QR code. I'll put a link in the description down below. That is to my calendar. Schedule a 15-minute discovery call. It's free. There's no pressure. There's no obligations. By the end of the call, you'll know not just what you can buy, but where you feel most comfortable living. My contact information is down below as well. My name is Adam Miller with the 941 Lifestyle Group. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next video.